Should go live soon. Hello, live. There we are. We're live, I think. Yeah, and that's muted so that happens. And I think everyone can hear me because I see my audio meters jumping around. Let's make that a little bit louder. I don't think it'll peak at these levels. And I should be back to live now. So, sorry about that before. If anyone, well, I know one person for sure was. I know Havoc was in watching, so sorry about that, Havoc. You got, I had to boot you to reset everything. But here we are in the updated updated tabletop simulator mod of TCGRPG. Thanks, I said it before, but I'll say it again. Thanks to Awesome Wasim for the idea of versioning things. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. So this is version 0.3. It's the third version of it. I'll go over things again quickly, right? We have a dice deck, an encounter deck, a dungeon deck, and some heroes. We have the old heroes here in case we wanted to try some of them with some of their strengths and abilities. Oh, I think we do, or did that? Yeah, see, that one's got 25 health, 20 health. Oh, actually, it's only him with his 25 health. Everything else is still oh, they have the different strength levels. Yep, sorry, that's the big key difference there. 4-2-1 -6 -3, and new Bardo is 4-2-1 -3 -1. So in the playtesting, second time's a charm, Havoc, that's true. In the playtesting that Havoc so graciously did, he brought up that there was way too much defense. So there was no thrill to it. There was no chance of losing, basically. You're almost guaranteed to win all the time. So we lowered their defensive abilities on all the hero cards, actually. If you look at all of them, they've all got much less defense than they used to. I don't think I've played through with Bardo yet, so I'm going to try Bardo. And the way we play the game, we'll use dice instead of the dice deck, even though I do have a new artwork on the dice deck for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. There's number 2. Can I shuffle it up while it's there? No, it'll still show me that one. Oh, because number 2 ended up on top. There's number 3, number 6. So yeah, they're pretty, I think they're pretty dice cards. Oh, why is that 6 in the bottom left squished? I'll have to figure that one out. But anyways, oh, everything's squished in the bottom left. Anyways, I'll have to look at that before it goes to any kind of print run or anything like that, of course. I did a round as Bardo earlier, almost got my butt handed to me. Oh no, but then again, isn't that the thing with bards, right? Bards are kind of crap in RPGs. Please don't anyone, drag me for that. I just, that's my impression of them, what I gather from everyone. But let's start here, shuffling things up. We don't need I'll leave them out, they look pretty, I'll leave them like that. And we're going to do Bardo. We're going to draw our first card, flip. Well, I guess I should read the first one. You'll get bored after a while of reading. Oh, you'll notice on the card, sorry. Alpha test print version 0.3, it says on top. It says Alpha, TCGRPG. That was supposed to be reversed, I think. But anyways, doesn't matter. Card 27 of 52. I'm trying to number the cards so that, just like a real TCG, you have cards of a certain amount of a certain set and all that. I've got bigger plans in the back of my head how it grows, this whole thing. So it starts with this, with numbering them at this level. But yeah, you'll get bored after a while probably watching playthroughs or reading playthroughs where the text is always the same on these cards. That's part of, in my mind, the collectible nature of the TCG part of it, where you will have different cards with different text on them that you can intertwine, intermingle, whatever you want to call it, into the game. An encounter's an encounter, 1, 2, 3, whatever you encounter in a dungeon. But the point is, you will have different text on it, so you can actually, not read a story, but create a story out of it. So let's start. You awaken in a dank room. The meager light cast from the waning sconces upon the walls casts terrible shadows about. The embers of a recently extinguished fire linger. There is a doorway in front of you. So obviously, you go through the doorway. And the first place we go to has a door on the side. The vaulted ceiling of this room... Let me start again. The vaulted ceiling of this room bleeds away warmth from the stones high into the air, leaving a cold chill to run through your bones. So here we've got an extra bonus in this. When we defeat these 2 encounters, if they do happen to be monsters, we search our encounter deck for 1 health potion. It says it right there. You'll notice just above the flip 2 encounter cards part. I should probably flip those because I want that to happen after the encounters. It makes sense. You don't, what are you going to do? Run past, grab the health potion, and then fight the monsters? No, you fight the monsters first. So we're going to shuffle up our encounter deck, and we're going to draw 2 cards. We drop them down here. We have this, thanks to Havoc TV, he had this lovely idea of setting these up kind of like this with the dice and the health counters and all that. I tried setting up an auto counter, but it'll count the health of the creature that's sitting in it, but it will not let you lower the health. I got to figure that out still. If anyone knows something about Tabletop Simulator that can help me with that coding, please let me know. Well, that's incredible. We ran into 2 healing potions. So those go over here into kind of our inventory. There's some advanced stuff with inventory I'll talk about, I'll go into later, that Havoc also suggested. And I think it's as the game grows, it's going to be a little more advanced. There will be some options to get a more advanced, more fulfilling RPG style out of it. I want to do 152, or I guess 54, whatever fits in a tuck box card deck to start with, and then it will grow from there on, being able to get kind of like a big box game or boosters, things like that. So yeah, that's thanks to him on that front. So yeah, we cannot do the Search the Encounter deck because I know that there's only 2 potions in there. I built the deck. But I would normally search it and then have to shuffle it, so I will shuffle it up. And we'll draw our next dungeon. And our next dungeon says, the dungeon diverges once more. Choices leading you... Let me start that again. I don't know why I can't read today. The dungeon diverges once more. Choices leading your confused mind astray. Which route is to salvation? Which to damnation? And this one has a little bit extra in it. Roll 5 or higher to heal 3 HP. So I haven't gotten any HP damage yet, so that won't help me. I'm going to do it anyways just for the fun of it. And it's a 5, actually, so a 5 or higher. So I almost think someone like Bardo and the Thief, I'm thinking they should have an option like where the numbers change maybe by 1 point. So instead of a 5 or higher, Bardo and the Thief only roll a 4 or higher. Or maybe this is how Bardo works. Bardo rolls a 4 or higher, so the health benefit things work better for a bard, and the thief, the traps are easier for a thief, whereas your wizard and your warrior just are generic, right? They got a little bit more health, a little stronger weapons and defense. I did not know that the health potion was after the encounters. Well, I'll tell you, Havoc, the first time I played through it, I did the health potion first as well, and it just didn't feel right, right? Because I'm like, how would I get a health potion ahead of time? Like, is it just hanging on the doorway when I walk in? So I think it should be after, so I think I should reverse those 2 lines. The only problem with reversing those 2 lines is when I get like this is okay, you see the empty line above. When I reverse the 2 lines, something with more text, well, let's see what my next card is, maybe that'll have it. Nope, this one doesn't either, but sometimes when there's more text in it, you, like I can't write that much information. Maybe either I have to cheat the text box up more so there's more room for more text on it, I don't know. Because I'm kind of limiting myself a bit. And maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe I move this whole text box up so that there's a little bit more room to write another line of text in there, and you still have the roll 4 or higher, blah, 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 and all that other stuff. See, like I would say here, roll 4 or higher, maybe Bardo rolls 3 or higher to heal. So it's kind of crazy that we got into that stuff right away. Let's roll anyways just to see. And we got a 3. So yeah, you would say 3 or higher, Bardo would heal. Let's see what this one is. Watch this one be a dead end. Nope, this one is another... Oh, sorry, and here I could have gone left or right. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But the point is, it gives you some choice, so it feels a little bit more natural, a little bit more like you're actually exploring a dungeon. Another thought was to be able to backtrack. So here, this is it's a pass-through. Some of these you'll hit a staircase that lowers you to the next dungeon. Another thought was if you've hit a multi-room, maybe you come back here and you can choose a different direction to go. Having said that, I don't think we're going to go down that route, only because these are supposed to be removed when you... oh, this one doesn't say remove when you reshuffle. I got to fix that. Because if you look here where you heal, anytime you healed, I thought you should remove it from the deck, because you don't want to just keep healing. You want to make it actually a challenge for you as you get deeper and deeper into this dungeon. Yeah, the wording, once you complete the encounter, search the deck for a health potion would be nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to change to that. I think I have enough room to, like, I think the font is an okay size to make it a little bit smaller. I know lately people have been complaining a lot about font size, but I think I can go a little bit smaller. What I have to do obviously is print out. I do have some printouts here. Where did I put my sample deck? So here is my sample deck, and if I look at, of course I didn't grab any encounter card or any dungeon cards in that deck. Oh, what am I saying? These are the old style ones. They had no text on them. So I have to print a sample of this one to see how that font looks, if it's big enough to read or whatnot. I think that's my key thing, is to look at that and say, is it legible, or are we talking so tiny that it's illegible now? So here I have to flip an encounter. The noises you thought were only in your head appear to get louder as you pass through the doorway. Fearing the worst, you ready yourself for combat. Flip one encounter card. Let's see if it's an actual monster. It's the Goblin Miscreant. So the way we play the game now, if anyone's not familiar with it, is we roll for initiative. So you roll to see who gets higher, and Bardo got higher with it too than the one that the Goblin Miscreant got. So Bardo gets to attack first. Bardo rolls the dice to try and land one of those 6 options to attack. And Bardo rolls a 4. A 4 is a loot lunge, so he's lunging at him with his loot. Probably not the strongest way to attack. Hello, James. How are you? You really like that art, Havoc? Thank you. I wasn't sold on it. I don't know. I think I have to clean it up a little bit more. But it's a far cry from some of the other artworks that were in here, right? Like the stuff I just grabbed off of a free thing like these. So I think I'd have to work on it a little bit more, but just to clean it up a little bit for the final. But I do like the idea of it, sort of thing. James, this is your first time joining us seeing this game, I think, right? So this is TCGRPG, the all-in-one role-playing game, single-player game to you kind of walk through this dungeon sort of thing. And we got an encounter. We encountered a Goblin Miscreant, and we rolled a 4, which does 1 damage unless this 1 can block, and it does not. The Goblin Miscreant has no blocks, so we are at 9 health. Let me get that set properly. It was 10, it went down to 9. Now I just got in. What game is this? This is one of my own games, James. This is the TCGRPG, I call it. It was there was a contest someone was trying to run to do a 52 card TCG, like make a single deck trading card game, and I started it, and then the contest went away, so I thought I would finish it. And then Havoc jumped on so kindly to help with some of the development of it. He's been doing some playtesting and giving me some great advice. And I've slowly but surely been working through the artwork to keep myself motivated, and a little bit of the gameplay here to adjust stats on things. So yeah, it's a solo dungeon crawler with plans to grow to multiplayer dungeon crawlers. But even speaking with Havoc about it, we wanted a single player game. So you start the game as a single player, and it's single player first, because a lot of games offer it's multiplayer with a single player option. Single player option always sucks. You're always either playing as 2 people, or you're like auto playing the second part of it. Like, it's just not good. I wanted something that was, you can sit down and play kind of like your own solitaire, but a little bit more fun than just flipping a regular card deck. So I like this idea. It's a single player first. It's focused on one person playing it. I know there's one of the Marvel games is like that, and I think Hero Realms you can play single player, but it seems like a lot of, I don't want to say confusing, but a lot more involved than it needs to be. I wanted something simple, quick and easy, pick up and play. In fact, I made a dice deck out of it too, so you don't actually need dice to play the game. You just use the dice deck. It's got life counters, so you don't need dice to count life, or these counter bars. You would use these to tuck under your hero, and then your hero would just reveal, you can't see it this way, magnifying glass. So like there, your hero would have 11 health left, and then you would move them down, and they would have, I moved it too far, but they would have 10 health left, so you can play the entire game out of one deck of cards. That was the goal. Okay, Havoc just sent a nice long message. One little house rule that I have been playtesting around with is I use the first roll of the initiative roll also as the first roll for your attack, just to speed things up a bit. That's a good idea, actually. That's not a bad idea, because you know what, it does feel slow and clunky sometimes. Like, I feel like here's the initiative, okay, now let's roll. And we did improve on the fact that you don't ever get double blocks. That was the first way the game was designed, so we do have that already. And not that we need a fast game, but you really don't want to sit down and play this for hours, unless you choose to. Then you can keep cycling through and looping through, re-entering the dungeon. But you want to be able to hammer this out in 10-15 minutes maybe, just a quick little pick up and play sort of thing. So the goblin rolled a 4, which is not on his attack chart there. If you see, short sword stab is a 6 or a 1, and an elbow drop is a 5 or a 2. So he basically misses, is what we consider that. It didn't hit the armor class of Bardo, is how I play that in the RPG aspect of things. Oh, you're okay with playing the game for hours? That's good, actually. I'm glad you're having a lot of fun with it. I really. Oh no, did I spell sword wrong? Oh God. It's a rod, actually. It's a SW rod. It's part of the upcoming 6E D&D campaigns. You're not familiar with it yet. I've got an inside track or something like that. Anyways, so Bardo did defend, but he didn't need to. The 2 gives him actually nothing. Good thing that didn't hit. So we're going to roll and roll. Bardo's attack of 4 again is a loot lunge. This time we blocked with a 3, which also doesn't trigger anything, so we're down another 1. I guess I should put Bardo's health in here, which is 20. Okay, now it goes back to the Goblin, which is a 4. The 4 again just misses the armor class. This is a bad creature to work with. Star Wars rod. There you go. Yeah, it's a lightsaber. Lightsaber is probably copywritten, so it's a Star Wars rod, because Star Wars isn't copywritten or anything, right? So we'll use that term. We rolled a 5, which is Song of Severance. So that's a +2 to it, or an attack damage of 2. A 3 again has no defense, so he loses 2 health. We roll back the other way. A 5. This time we actually got something, an elbow drop. So the Goblin Miscreant attempts to elbow drop Bardo. Bardo blocks with a 6. A 6 triggers the Wall of Sound, which is a -3. So that takes 3 away from that attack of 2. He blocks all the damage with his Wall of Sound. What do we got here? A 3, which is the loot lunge again, and a 6, which is nothing. So it's another 1. It's a very slow kill of this Goblin Miscreant. And we got a 4, which again was not I should remember what the numbers are, you think, eh? Instead of having to zoom in every time. And Bardo's defense doesn't matter, so Bardo will attack now. It's a 2. The 2 gives us a Song of Severance, and a block of 5 actually blocks 1 of that. So we attack with 2, we block 1, total of 1 damage, down to 4. The Goblin attacks back with a 3. Nothing, totally misses the armor class. Bardo attacks with a 3. Whoops. The 3 gives us a loot lunge again. A block of 3 is nothing, so it's another -1. Usually the battles don't last this long. They're not this slow in my bit of playtesting. A 1. A 1 does a short sword, or short swole rod stab for 3. Clearly some spell checking needs to take place. And we blocked 4 of it. 4 is on our Wall of Sound, so the attack of 3 is blocked completely by the Wall of Sound. I know you said, Havoc, that you had you just made it through with Bardo, but just this first encounter seems very, one-sided. But I guess it's just luck of the draw, right? Bardo just seems to be doing very well. Another loot lunge. A block of 4 is nothing, so it's -1. Whoops. Did I hit that? There we are. I think so. James says, this sounds great. I'm trying to get my son into dungeon crawlers, thinking of getting the Quest Kids and Dungeons & Dragons Castle Ravenloft board game. Quest Kids, I think... Send me a message about Quest Kids, James. That was on Drive-Thru RPG, I think, right? If it's the one I'm thinking of, send me a message about it before you pick that up, and we'll talk about that. Get sent into Jeff Basito's TCGRPG. He'll have to build up to it, because I think this will lose his interest immensely. My kids, none of them got into gaming. My son did for a very brief time. Him and one of his friends asked me to run a D&D campaign for him. Okay, actually, so I got to take a break from this to tell you this anecdote I've told everyone, and I think it's a great anecdote, so anyone watching this later, anecdote time. So my son and his friend wanted to play D&D. So I had I don't have it here beside me, but it's somewhere on my shelf there. I had the new release of the starter kit sort of thing, right? With a Fandelver, whatever that's called. So I said, okay. I said, let's try it. His friend came over. This is quite a few years ago. My son was probably not 7. He was probably 10 or 11, him and his friends. So they were here, and I took it out, and I said, okay, let's play. So I started going through it, and I changed things, right? They're 10, 11 years old. So they were in a bar, but they were drinking milk and stuff like that, right? I kidified it a little bit for them. And I'm going to preface this by saying, if you guys have ever played the entry module to D&D, the Mines, that's it, Mines of Phandelver. It starts, you're in a bar, you leave the bar, and you encounter goblins on a roadway towards Phandelver, I think it is. Anyways, we never got past that point. And you're supposed, you're in a caravan or whatever, it gets stopped, you find a dead horse or something like that, and you have to kill these goblins, and that's how you first learn to encounter and fight. I'm going to preface this by saying both my son and his friend are in the gifted program, which is, think outside the box sort of thing. And not like they're smarter than anyone. It's like a think outside the box. It's actually considered a learning disability. But, they think and act differently a bit than people. So they were, I'm as the DM, I can't tell them what to do. But they were trying to figure out how to get at this goblin who was shooting them from the top of a ridge. So I explained to them, it's a cliff. It's a sheer cliff. There's a goblin on top of there. What do you do? So one of them tried, I think, throwing rocks at him or throwing a rope to try and I'm like, what are you throwing the rope on? There's nothing on that. So then I thought, okay, I know what to do here. I'm going to try and lead them down the direction. So I said, that goblin takes out his bow and arrow and starts shooting arrows at you. What do you do? So they both smart. They avoided the arrows. They we're going to hide behind our caravan or whatever. So they hide behind it. No problem. And I say, you guys got to get up there, or you guys got to, what are you going to do? You can't move. You can't just sit here forever. So again, I kept reiterating, he's shooting at you with a bow and arrow. And they're thinking. They've never played D&D before, right? So I'm like, okay, well, why don't you check your inventory? What do you have in your inventory? And they're going through random stuff, totally oblivious. And then one of them goes, I've got a bow and arrow. And I'm like, you do you? Thinking, okay, finally, they're going to shoot an arrow at this thing. I don't care what they roll. I'm going to let them hit it. Because this is like 30 minutes in now. And we should be beyond this point. So the one, I think it was my son's character had the bow and arrow. So his friend, if I'm not mistaken, told him, okay, you take the bow and arrow and you shoot arrows into the cliffside, and I will use them as hand and footholds to climb up there and then attack the goblin. So they definitely thought outside the box. Obviously, D&D is built for that sort of thing. But also, thankfully, at that time, his dad showed up and he had to leave, because I don't think I could have bit my tongue any longer to tell them to just shoot the damn goblin already. Like, what are you guys doing? It was brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that's, that seems like a lot of fun. I would love to be that kid that thought of that instead of the actual thing. But sometimes there's, and I know DMs usually like that sort of thing, but I was trying to move them along just to give them a kind of a quick example of what D&D is like. And obviously it fell flat on its face. So they do not play D&D anymore. That one of them was going to do it for their birthday and everything, but then, pandemic hit and no one got to do anything for anything. But yeah, so I would say, Havoc, thank you for the vote of confidence, but James, do message me about the Quest Kids thing, and get them started on either something they like or something a little bit more easy to delve into, and maybe put an adult on their side of the campaign so that they can kind of encourage some things. Like we played one in a library once, and it was like that. Like I was with my son and kind of talking through a few things, and I'm like, hey, what if, I mentioned a couple like obscure things to do, and it kind of got him at least thinking of different things he could do, because sometimes he just thinks completely crazy out of the box, and other times it's very rigid of, this is exactly what I have to do, so I gotta, we're supposed to get this milk to the farm, let's get it there. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but what if you took a detour and sold it for more money to a scalper or whatever, like all these things that they don't think about. But anyways, I digress. Back to the battle at hand. I guess I could zoom in more. I don't need to be so zoomed out. And I believe it was the goblin's turn, and if it wasn't, it was, because the goblin just lost some health. So the 2 gets us an elbow drop of 2. The block of 3 blocks one of those, so that's 1 life down on Bardo. Bardo will counterattack now. But the 1 gives us a Rhythm of War, which is actually an attack of 4. The 2 blocks 1 of that, but it's enough to kill the goblin. So the goblin gets put into our treasury graveyard sort of thing. And if you look, actually, here's something neat. There is a gold counter in the bottom. Gold 2. The thought process here is there will be a shop system mechanism at some point. Not within this game itself, but in the future. And I want to kind of make all the cards interchangeable. You can interchange them throughout any edition or rendition of the game. I'm also thinking, you tell me what you think of this, Havoc. I'm thinking of using the gold counter as a limitation counter. So part of the thought process is to have this as an actual, draftable or sealable game where you get, 6 packs, 5 packs, whatever. I haven't worked out the exact details of it, with a certain amount of dungeon cards and creature cards and all this stuff, and you build a deck for either yourself or your opponent to face. And they pick a hero and try and go through your dungeon. But I would have to limit it because you couldn't say, like, you have only seen the one creature for people that are just watching, but you couldn't say, put in 5 of the top difficult baddie. So there would have to be some sort of a ratio saying, like, you can put in, I don't know, it would be like whatever the number is times that many or something, right? Like, because right now I think we have 4 Goblin Miscreants in here, so if there's 4, well, no, because that doesn't work. It has to be divided by... Either way, I was thinking of using the gold somehow to determine that, when it's a gold 2, that means you can have 4 of them. When it's a gold 3, you can have 3 of them. When it's a gold 5, you can have 1 of them, or something to that effect. Yeah, kind of like a chi thing from Genesis Battle of Champions. So the idea would be you have a limitation on how many of these you can put in a deck. That way, if you're building a deck, you're not saying, well, the Warlock is like the big baddie, right? In this, if we come across it. You're not saying, well, I'm going to build this for my buddy to play, and it's got 6 Warlocks in it. They're not going to win. They're not going to beat it. They're not going to have fun, right? Oh, hold on. I just got a message here. Sorry, my wife's on her way home, and she asked if I wanted something. So how do you say no to a coffee or a tea, right? So yeah, you couldn't put in all that because it wouldn't be fair, right? That, or I will put like a cheat type value where it's like, hey, here's a number. This is how many you can have of this card. I've seen that on a lot of games now do that, right? This is the limitation of how many of this you can put in your deck. Okay, now let me catch up with some text here. I know that drive-thru has a lot of kid-friendly knockoffs of D&D that has limited abilities and usually only uses D6s, yeah? Yeah, kind of like Chi. We need a playset ruling. Maybe also like an MTG legendary style ruling. Yeah, that was the other thought, right? So the way I was trying to determine it was, I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want. That's the whole point, right? But if it was in a like controlled environment, you'd say, okay, here's your, let's say, 10 packs of cards. You tear them open. You need to have 20 dungeon cards. They can be any combination of dungeon cards, but you need 1 start and 1 end card at least. And you can have, let's say, I think we have, well, I guess it would be 16 dungeon cards, 21 encounter cards, of which this many need to be treasures or traps, this many need to be creatures. Of those creatures, this many can be at these levels, basically. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a level thing, right? So it's like the Goblin Miscreant is a level 2 creature. So a level 2 creature, you can have this many of. Maybe that's what the gold 2 means. When we get to another creature, it'll be like a level 1. A level 1 means you can have this many of them, sort of thing. So you're limited. Just like, and on sealed events for Magic and all that, they have their little cheat sheet that tells you all that. And I can even fit on the rules here, because the flip side of the rules page, the rules card, just says rules. So you could have something like that. That just kind of gives you like a little cheat sheet of how to do it. And I think that would be the best way to do it. So you can have, in a sealed type event, you have one big baddie, and the rest are a mixture of them, because you also don't want to face off against out of, what did I say, 21? Out of 21 encounters, and let's say 15 of them are creatures, you don't want 10 of those creatures to be the kobolds or whatever other creatures we come up with between now and then. You want to give them a fighting chance. You want to have some fun getting through this dungeon. You want to be able to actually succeed at it, right? I mean, I think I had it succeeding a little too much before with the very weak, very strong defenses. Oh, hold on a second. I have to keep answering here. Now she's asking if my son wants anything. All right, sorry, that's a bit of a distraction there. And I lost my train of thought, but that's okay because it was something about that. Yeah, with the creatures and all that. I think that's down the road, obviously, like I said, right? So I'm going to start with this single 52, I think 54 is where they fit actually. So 54 card deck that's designed to be played as is. If you have dice, you use dice. If you don't worry about the dice. Just play with the other stuff. And the beauty of it is, I mean, here we used these 8-sided die, but you actually... That's right, because you're supposed to have double chances. Yeah, so I would need to make... Oh, that's right. Never mind. I was going to talk to you about that after Havoc. Sorry. I've just remembered something about the boxed version that you were talking about with that lovely little card design you made, the hero card thing. I have an idea about that and something that would make it a little bit more worthwhile sort of thing with dice and whatnot. Okay, I guess I can say, yeah, basically we'd have to have custom dice in it, right? Because these are 8-sided die with only 6 numbers on them. Not like it's a big secret or anything. Anyways, let's keep going through this dungeon. We're going to flip another dungeon card. And this one here, oh, what do you know? As your eyes turn the corner, you see an unfamiliar sight. Sun glinting off a gold obelisk. The sounds of birds overwhelm you as the smell of fresh vegetation wafts in. You have made it through the dungeon. As you can see, I have not designed this dungeon to look like you've made it out of the dungeon yet, but it will. It'll have that gold obelisk, and the stone wall to the top of the card will be removed and turned into grass, because that's what it is. You're leaving the dungeon now. I think that's what I have to do soon, because I have to. We're at that point now. But that's great. That's a short dungeon. We played one monster and got to the end of the dungeon. So another thing that Havoc had mentioned was to maybe have this ending card separate from everything. So at a certain point you trigger it, knowing that you have to eventually end the dungeon. The only reason I like just having it shuffled in randomly is because you do end up with very quick short games like this, at which point you just reset, throw them back in, keep your same hero at the same health if you want. You left into a field, maybe you just entered another dungeon, right? Doesn't really matter. You just have fun with it and keep playing through it in that respect. So what I can do now is gather these pieces together, throw them back into throw all of them. That'd be nice if I grabbed them all. Throw them all back into the dungeon. Oops, now some are upside down. That's not good. Let's get these all facing... Oh no, they're all facing the same direction. Oh, that was a weird toss of that. Anyways. And we can throw him back in the encounter deck. We never had to use any health potions. Yeah, sometimes it's a small dungeon. What are you going to do, right? And let's roll up. Let's get Bardo back up to 20. Clear this one. And let's try again, right? Why not? We got a little bit of time. You enter a room overwhelmed by a rotting stench you've never smelled before. You squint through blurry eyes at an odd shape before you. Flip one encounter card. Let's shuffle these up good this time. Let's not try and get 2 health potions right off the bat. Oh, it's a chittering crab. Chittering crabs are great because they're very weak and we have some fun killing them. So we roll initiative, and I'm going to try actually Havoc's method of taking this as the first. So a 6 and a 4. 6 wins. 6 is going to do the double pincer pinch, and Bardo with a 4 blocks 3 of that. So it does no damage whatsoever, actually. Yeah, I wanted something easy, right? Like I wanted some little thing that they could, the crabs were actually originally chittering rats because of the whole joke of in RPGs where you get into a bar and they're like, go down into my cellar and kill the rats, sort of thing, right? They do it in Bard's Tale and all these other games, right? Like that's a big thing to start out learning how to play. And it was a chittering rat, but I couldn't find an icon of a rat. And I didn't start drawing them myself yet, like I did for the Goblin Miscreant. So I'm like, well, I guess it's going to be a chittering crab. So that's my takeoff on the rats of everything, right? Yeah, it's very flavor, yeah. So I liked that whole idea. And I thought, that's great. Why not, right? So now Bardo swings in with a 5, which is a Song of Severance. And I don't know why I rolled for the crab. He can't block. So that's a 2. Knocks 2 down. So the crabs are really here just to kind of, wean down your health. A 6 is an attack of 3. A 1 is a block of nothing. Ooh. That's a mean crab bite. Wow, I can see why Bardo lost for you that one time, or at least got close. If an MMO doesn't start off with fighting mud crabs on a beach, I wouldn't consider it a good MMO. Yeah. You always have to have some, like, pathetic little monster creature thing that you're trying to attack. Something that you just totally, well, you should totally decimate. Song of Severance of 2. Oh, yeah, he doesn't block, so he takes 2. So yeah, the crab isn't great, but like that hit of 3 makes Bardo consider, maybe he should use a potion next time he gets the opportunity for. Attack of 4 does nothing. An attack of 1 is a Rhythm of War of 4, totally kills the crab. Crab goes there. See, and the crab is 0, so maybe it's not 0 gold. Maybe it's level 0. So a level 0 card, you can have infinite numbers of them because you know that, well, infinite, up to the maximum amount per of creatures total in your deck. But they're free, right? Like they're easier to beat. Chittering crabs, rats, whatever we determine for all the different little low-level creatures. Things that probably can't block or have like a block of 1 by rolling a single number by chance or whatever. And then your gold 2 is a level 2. Maybe there's a gold 1 that's a level 1. A chittering crab with a single block ability, right? It's like a shielding crab or something like that. Or maybe it's a hermit crab. It's got a shield on it, right? It's shell defense sort of thing. That sort of thing. Something like that. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. And that went too far. There we are. Oh, no, I want to go that way. So yeah, we have to follow the dungeon too, which, takes up some space on the table. Still weary from your recent ordeal, you stumble. Your stumbling gait resounds off the stone walls as you lean on them for support. Remove this dungeon card from the game and roll 4 or higher to heal 2 HP. So we have to roll a 4 or higher. And it's a 3. Again, I think in the end, the bards will be able to heal faster. I think that's their trick. Originally I was going to have the wizards heal more, but I think the wizards don't heal more. They're just tough enough as they are. The warriors are tough enough as they are. The bards should heal faster, and the thieves should be able to get through traps easier. So maybe I'll give the wizard a little more health than what they have now. So the bard and the thief are a little bit lower, give you a bit more of a challenge. So this card now gets removed when we have to do a shuffle back in. That way we can't just keep healing. Take the next card off. Kind of getting in the way here, so we're going to move stuff over. And this one says, passing through the doorway, it is like stepping through a portal to another world. The smell is the same, but the sounds have changed. Impossibly, they sound more ominous. Flip an encounter card. Oh, we got a kobold. Again, kobold only because I could find this picture. Maybe it's an ogre. I don't know. We'll see. So we are going to, now we're in battle, we have to roll for initiative. Kobold is at 13. Let's give him 13 health. And we roll and roll. A 3 and a 4. 4 wins initiative, but a 4 does no damage because it does not hit the armor class, which is, for anyone joining just now, that's what I consider a roll that doesn't show up on their attack or defense or their attack table to do. So now we counterattack with a 2. The 2 is a Song of Severance for 2 damage. A block of 2 blocks all 2 of it. It's a tough kobold. See, and he has 3 gold, so this is like a level 3 creature I'm thinking Havoc. So the level 3s, you can only have maybe 3 of them or 4 of them in your deck, or 2 or something like that, right? I think we have 3 in this example. A 1. A 1 is a longsword slash of 4, and a block of 3 blocks 1 of that. So we actually take another 3 damage. Okay. Another thought for someone like the bard and the wizard was to give them a healing option. So we have to think of that too, Havoc, if that's a plan, where they would skip their turn in initiative round and like have to roll a die for a chance to get health, right? Like it'd be like, okay, if they roll maybe whatever number they roll, they gain back in health. That seems a little bit wonky because they're probably going to gain 3 or 4 every time because we double up that number. I don't know. I think that might be a little excessive. So we did an attack roll of 4, loot lunge. A block of 2 actually blocks all of that. I think we might die here. An attack of 4 is nothing, thank God. Okay. Another thought for someone like the thief is maybe their defense has a counterattack option. So when your thief blocks, he's actually counterattacking for like 1 hit point or something when they roll like a really good roll or something like that. We were here with a 5, right? The 5 is a Song of Severance. A block of 4 does not block anything, so that's great. The Song of Severance does 2 damage. We've actually finally hit this kobold. A 6 and a 6. So a 6 is a long sword slash of 4. A block of 6 blocks 3 of it with a Wall of Sound. So we take 1 of those damage still. A 5 was a Song of Severance again. 3 does not block any of that. So thank God we're getting this kobold to die. Kobold comes in for 4, which is a miss of the AC. A 3 does a loot lunge of 1. And we defend with a 1, which is nothing. Ooh, took 1 damage from lunging at him with the loot. An attack of 1 is a longsword slash again. A block of 3 only blocks 1 of that. Ouch. So wait, what did we get? Yeah, 1. That's a 4. So we only blocked 1 of it. We take another 3. Down to 10. This is not looking so good for Bardo, is it? I don't know here. An attack of 3 gives us a loot lunge of 1. A block of 3 is nothing, thankfully. Counterattack from the kobold. Wow, another 1. And a 4 does the Wall of Sound at least, so we only knock down 1 health point. A 6, thank God, is our big attack of a 4. And a 1 doesn't block anything, so we knock him down by 4. Thankfully, we're finally starting to get ahead here, but going into... Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's get Bardo back on top. So what did we roll here? We rolled a 3 for the kobold to strike. Nothing, thankfully. And we rolled a 2 for Bardo, which is a Song of Severance, and a 2 blocks all of that. Getting right down to the wire here. Poor Bardo. Oh no, another 6 from the kobold. And a block of 3 only blocks 1 of it. So we're coming in for 3. Bardo's down to 6 health. This does not bode well. 5 and a 3. A 5 is an attack of 2. A 3 blocks nothing. So the kobold is severely injured now. Rolls a 3, which misses armor class. We attack with a loot lunge of 1. And we did it. We killed the kobold, but man, that was a rough go, eh? That was pretty terrible. We got no healing potions. We got no nothing. So let's flip another dungeon deck and hope for the best. Oh, we got a double encounter. That sucks. Actually, if I turn this card, now that I look at it, we can start going up again, which helps us a little bit. The vaulted ceiling of this room bleeds any warmth from the stones high into the air, leaving a cold chill to run through your bones. I am supposed to search the encounter deck for 1 health potion after I flip the 2 encounter cards, I think. Yeah, I struggled as Bardo as well, and I had 2 potions. Ouch. Well, let's hope we get one now. Oh, we got a trap and a chittering crab. So the crab we should be able to beat. Mind you, the crab knocked a bunch of our health off, and we got a trap. So first thing we'll do is I think we should take care of the crab first. I think the way it should go is you take your creatures, then traps. Like the trap is set for you to get to the next room or area, maybe. Haven't finalized that yet. It's just my thought process. So let's take care of the crab first. Let's roll our initiatives. We got a 5 and a 5. Oh, we're tied. Let's roll again. 4 and a 1. So the 4 takes it, and the 4 does 1 loot damage. So we are down to 5. Counterattack from the crab. Whoops. A 1, which does 3 damage. No! And a 3 only blocks 1 of it. We took 2 damage from this crab. This is crazy. We might die to a crab. 4, which is our 1 attack again. Jeez. Bardo. Just don't want to win, eh? 2 does a pincer poke of 1. Thank God 3 blocks all of it. A 5 and a 1. The 5 does 2 damage. I don't know why I keep rolling for... Oh, damn it. Again, I rolled the wrong thing. 5 attack does 1. A 5 block. Thankfully blocks it. A 3 attack does 1. Oh my God, this is the slowest kill ever of a crab. The crab hits with a 4. Thank God it misses. And a 3 We got finally our last damage. Killed that crab. But now we have to try and beat the trap. Roll a 4 or higher to evade it. Take our chances. We got a 4. Oh, thank God. We would have taken 2 damage. Okay, trap is good. Trap is good. And I wasn't supposed to flip that yet. I don't know what the next room is. Oh my gosh. What are the chances? As your eyes turn the corner, you see an unfamiliar light, sun glinting off a gold obelisk. The sounds of birds overwhelm you as the smell of fresh vegetation wafts in. You have made it through the dungeon with 4 health left. We only encountered 3 monsters, 1 trap, and we made it through somehow. Oh my gosh. That's, wow. I think I'm going to end it there. I was a little intense. I was, what do we have here on the timer? 25? Almost 30 minutes? Not a bad, oh no, that's the average viewing duration. We must have played for like an hour or something then. Anyways, not bad. That was fun. I mean, it was close. I didn't expect that. Much better than the first playthroughs, right, Havoc? Where things were, yeah, it was a butt-clenching round. Like, wow, I couldn't believe it. Bardo sucks. He's really bad. But I guess that's the point is, you want a bit of a challenge. You can't just have everyone be the same, right? Thanks, James. I feel good. I won my own game. I never win games that I make. I also never win games other people make, apparently. But, but yeah, that was intense. That was a lot of fun. This is, if you have Tabletop Simulator, James, you can get access to this. Just think you're on my Discord. You just pull it up there. And if not, I also have the print and play version on there. I didn't fix that one thing yet, though, Havoc. I fixed it on these cards, the one that said to discard just a regular card by accident, because I forgot to change that part of the text. I didn't fix it on the print and play yet. I'll try and fix that later today. Yes, it's also print and play. Yeah. So I will fix that on the other one, but on TTS, it's fixed and working the way it's supposed to. If you do your print and play, yes, you can use dice, or you can also just shuffle this up, and then you draw a card for each of your things that did their thing, and you flip them and see who beats who and who does what sort of thing. So that's all. Just a little bit of a fun way to not need anything else with it. Thank you guys very much for watching. This was awesome. I didn't know if anyone would be online watching tonight, but it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, and hopefully I can do a little bit more playtesting. I should print out a new set, because right now my print and play set is, like I said, the crabs look the same, but that's my old dungeons. That's what the final dungeon looked like before with that chalice in it. So yeah, I gotta reprint this so that I have a better version of it. I was hoping to get it to a point where I could just order a version of it from Make Playing Cards or the Game Crafter, so that they're real cards, but I think I need a little bit more tweaking just to get to that point when I feel comfortable enough to do it. I might still do it anyways. I mean, Game Crafter is going to cost me like $20 or something, or maybe $25 including shipping, so why not have an actual hard copy of it, and then when I eventually get to the point that I'm going to make this game, there's an alpha print deck of this card available for someone to have. I don't know, something like that. We'll see. But thank you guys very, very much for watching. And do send me a message about that, James, and I will talk to you about it. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you. This was fun. This was great. And have a good Friday. Have a good weekend if I don't see you between now and Monday. Bye.